The Book of the Dead, Part 3, Chapter 136. Another chapter of travelling in the great boat of Ra. The Osiris Nu, the overseer of the house of the overseer of the Seal, triumphant saith, Behold now, O ye luminaries in Anu, ye people in Kehera, the god Ka, hath been born, his cordage hath been completed, and the instrument wherewith he maketh his way hath he grasped firmly. I have protected the implements of the gods, and I delivered the boat Ka for him. I have come forth into heaven, and I have travelled therein with Ra in the form of an ape, and have turned back the paths of Nut at the staircase of the god Sebek. Chapter 136 of Perfecting the Spirit. Another chapter of making perfect the Khu. It shall be recited on the festival of Six. The Osiris Nu, the overseer of the house of the overseer of the Seal, triumphant saith, Behold now, O ye luminaries in Anu, Heliopolis, ye people in Keheraha, the god hath been born, his cordage hath been completed, and the instrument wherewith he maketh his way he hath grasped firmly, and the Osiris Nu is strong with them to direct the implement of the gods. The Osiris Nu have delivered the boat of the sun therewith bits missing, and he cometh forth into heaven. The Osiris Nu saileth round about in heaven, he travelleth therein unto Nut, he journeyeth along with Ra, and he voyageth therein in the form of apes. He turneth back the water flood which is over the thigh of the goddess Nut, at the staircase of the god Sebaku. The hearts of Seb and Nut are glad and repeat the name which is new, Un-Neferu, reneweth his youth. Ra is in his splendorous of light. Unti hath his speech, and lo, the god of the innuation is prince among the gods. The taste of sweetness hath forced a way into the heart of the destitute one, and the Lord of thy outcries hath been done away with, and the oars of the company of the gods are in vigorous motion. Adored be thou, O divine soul, who art endowed more than the gods of the south and north in their splendours. Behold, grant thou that the Osiris Nu may be great in heaven, even as thou art great among the gods. Deliver thou him from every evil and murderous thing which may be wrought upon him by the fiend, and fortify thou his heart. Grant thou, moreover, that the Osiris Nu may be stronger than all the gods, all the Kus, and all the dead. The Osiris Nu is strong, and is the Lord of powers. The Osiris Nu is the Lord of right and truth, which the goddess Uachit worketh. The strength which protects the Osiris Nu is the strength which protects the god Ra in heaven. O god Ra, grant thou that the Osiris Nu may travel on in thy boat in peace, and do thou prepare a road whereon thy boat may journey onwards. For the force which protecteth Osiris is the force which protecteth thee. The Osiris Nu driveth back the crocodile from Ra day by day. The Osiris Nu cometh even as doth Horus in the splendours of the horizon of heaven, and he directeth Ra through the mansions of the sky. The gods rejoice greatly when the Osiris Nu repulseth the crocodile. The Osiris Nu have the amulet of the god, and the cloud of Nebt shall not come nigh unto him, and the divine guardians of the mansions of the sky shall not destroy him. The Osiris Nu is a divine being whose face is hidden, and he dwelleth within the great house as the chief of the shrine of the god. The Osiris Nu carrieth the words of the god to Ra, and he cometh and maketh supplication unto the divine Lord with the words of his message. The Osiris Nu is strong of heart, and he maketh his offering at the moment among those who perform the ceremonies of sacrifice. Chapter 136, Part 3 of Protecting the Spirit. The chapter of sailing in the great boat of Ra to pass over the circle of bright flame. The Osiris Nu, the overseer of the house of the overseer of the seal, triumphant saith, Hail ye bright and shining flames, which keep your place behind Ra, and which slay behind him. The boat of Ra is in fear of the whirlwind and the storm. Shine ye forth then, and make ye yourselves visible. I have come daily along with the god Sekhara from the bight of his holy lake, and I have seen the Mart goddess pass along, and the lying gods who belong unto them. Hail thou that dwellest in the Kotha, who hast multitudes of plants. I have seen what is there. We rejoice, and their princes rejoice greatly, and their lesser gods are glad. I have made a way in front of the boat of Ra. I have lifted myself up into his divine disk. I shine brightly through his splendours. He hath furnished himself with the things which are his, taking possession thereof as the Lord of right and truth. And behold, O ye company of the gods, and thou ancestors of the goddess Isis, grant ye that he may bear testimony to his Father, the Lord of those who are therein. I have weighed the bits missing in him as chief, and I have brought to him the goddess Tefnut, and he liveth. Behold, come, and declare before him the testimony of right and truth of the Lord Tem. I cry out at eventide, and at his hour, saying, Grant ye unto me, that I may come. I have brought unto him the jaws of the passage of the tomb. I have brought unto him the bones which are in Anu, Heliopolis. I have gathered together for him his manifold parts. I have driven back for him the serpent fiend Apep. I have spit upon his gashes for him. I have made my road, and I have passed in among you. I am he who dwelleth among the gods. Come, let me pass onwards in the boat of the Lord Sar. Behold, O Heru'er, there is a flame, but the fire hath been extinguished. I have made my road O ye divine fathers, and your divine apes. I have entered upon the horizon, and I have passed on to the side of the divine princes, and I have borne testimony unto him that dwelleth in his divine boat. I have gone forward over the circle of bright flame which is behind the Lord of the lock of hair, which moveth round about. Behold, ye who cry out over yourselves, ye worms in your hidden places. Grant ye that I may pass onwards, for I am the mighty one, the Lord of divine strength, and I am the spiritual body, Sar, of the Lord of divine right and truth, made by the goddess Uatchit. His strength which protecteth is my strength which protecteth, which is the strength which protecteth Ra. Grant ye that I may be in the following of Ra, and grant ye that I may go round about with him in Sekhet Hetep and in the two lands. I am a great God, and I have been judged by the company of his gods. Grant that divine sepulchral mills may be given unto me. Chapter 137. The four flames of the Spirit. The chapter of the four blazing flames which are made for the coup. Behold, thou shalt make 4 square troughs of clay, whereon thou shalt scatter incense, and thou shalt fill them with the milk of a white cow. And by the means of these thou shalt extinguish the flame. The Osiris-Nu, the overseer of the house of the overseer of the seal, triumphant saith, The fire cometh to thy car, O Osiris, governor of Amenti. The fire cometh to thy car, O Osiris-Nu, the overseer of the house of the overseer of the seal, triumphant. He that ordereth the night cometh after the day. The flame cometh to thy car, O Osiris, governor of those in Amenti. And the 2 sisters of Ra come likewise. Behold, the flame riseth in Abydos, and it cometh, and I cause it to come to the eye of Horus. It is set in order upon thy brow, O Osiris, governor of Amenti, and it is fixed within thy shrine, and riseth upon thy brow. It is set in order upon thy breast, O Osiris-Nu, and it is fixed upon thy brow. The eye of Horus is protecting thee, O Osiris, governor of Amenti, and it keepeth thee in safety. It casteth down headlong all thine enemies for thee, and all thine enemies have fallen headlong before thee. O Osiris-Nu, the eye of Horus, protecteth thee. It keepeth thee in safety, and it casteth down headlong all thine enemies. Thine enemies have fallen down headlong before thy car. O Osiris, governor of Amenti, the eye of Horus, protecteth thee. It keepeth thee in safety, and it hath cast down headlong all thine enemies. Thine enemies have fallen down headlong before thy car. O Osiris-Nu, the overseer of the house of the overseer of the seal, triumphant. The eye of Horus protecteth thee, it keepeth thee in safety. It hath cast down headlong for thee all thine enemies, and thine enemies have fallen down headlong before thee. The eye of Horus cometh, it is sound and well, and it sendeth forth rays like unto Ra in the horizon. It cometh over with darkness, the powers of Suti. It taketh possession thereof, and it bringeth its flame against him upon its feet. The eye of Horus is sound and well. Thou eatest the flesh of thy body by means thereof, and thou givest praise thereto. The four flames enter into thy car, O Osiris, governor of Amenti. The four flames enter into thy car, O Osiris Nu, the overseer of the house of the overseer of the Sil, triumphant. Hail ye children of Horus, Mesthi, Hapi, Tuamuatef, and Queb Hesenath. Ye have given your protection unto your divine father Osiris, the governor of Amenti. Grant ye your protection to the Osiris Nu, triumphant. Now therefore, inasmuch as ye have destroyed the opponents of Osiris, the governor of Amenti, he liveth with the gods, and he have smitten Suti with his hand and arm, since light dawned upon the earth, and Horus have gotten power, and he have avenged his divine father Osiris himself, and inasmuch as your divine father have been made vigorous through the union which ye have effected for him with the car of Osiris, the governor of Amenti. Now the eye of Horus have avenged him, and it hath protected him, and it hath cast down headlong for him all his enemies, and all his enemies have fallen down before him. Even so do ye destroy the opponents of the Osiris Nu, the overseer of the house of the overseer of the Sil, triumphant. Let him live with the gods. Let him smite down his enemy. Let him destroy him when light dawneth upon the earth. Let Horus gain power and avenge the Osiris Nu. Let the Osiris Nu have vigour through the union which ye have effected for him with his car. O Osiris Nu, the eye of Horus, have avenged thee. It hath cast down headlong all thine enemies for thee, and all thine enemies have fallen down headlong before thee. Hail Osiris, governor of Amenti, grant thou light and fire to the happy soul, which is in Sutenhanen, Heracleopolis, and O ye children of Horus, grant ye power unto the living soul of the Osiris Nu within his flame. Let him not be repulsed, and let him not be driven back at the doors of Amentet. O let his offerings of bread and of linen garments be brought unto him among those of the lords of funeral oblations. O offer ye praises as unto a god to the Osiris Nu, destroyer of his opponents, in his form of right and truth, and in his attributes of a God of right and truth. And thou shalt say, I have come advancing quickly, and casting light upon his footsteps, and hiding myself to cast light upon his hidden place. I stand up behind the Tet. I stand up behind the Tet of Ra, turning back the slaughter. I am protecting thee, O Osiris. And thou shalt say, I have driven back thy foes, and I have kept watch for thee. And he that is upon his mountain, Anubis, hath kept watch at thy moment, and hath repulsed thy foes for thee. I have driven back the crocodile for thee at thy moment, and I am protecting thee, O Osiris Nu, the overseer of the house of the overseer of the Sil, triumphant. And thou shalt say, I am the collar or girdle of sand round the hidden coffer, turning back the arm from the blazing flame of the funeral mountain. I have marched over the roads, and I am protecting the Osiris Nu, the overseer of the house of the overseer of the Sil, triumphant. And thou shalt say, O thou that comest to make a burning, I will not let thee do it. O thou that comest to shoot for fire, I will not let thee do it. I will burn thee. I will shoot for fire at thee. For I am protecting the Osiris Nu, the overseer of the house of the overseer of the Sil, triumphant. And behold, these things shall be performed by a man who is clean and is ceremonially pure, one who hath eaten neither meat nor fish, and who hath not recently had intercourse with woman. And behold, thou shalt make offerings of cakes and ale, and shalt burn incense on the fire of these gods. And every coup for whom these things shall be done shall become like a holy god in the underworld. He shall not be turned back at any gate in Amentet, and he shall be in the following of Osiris, wheresoever he goeth, regularly and continually. Chapter 137 of Kindling a Flame. The chapter of Kindling a Flame by Nebseni, the scribe and draughtsman in the temple of Ptah. He saith, The white or shining eye of Horus cometh. The brilliant eye of Horus cometh. It cometh in peace. It sendeth forth rays of light unto Ra in the horizon, and it destroyeth the powers of Set according to the decree. It leadeth them on, and it taketh possession of him, and its flame is kindled against him. Its flame cometh and goeth about, and bringeth adoration. It cometh and goeth about heaven, in the train of Ra, upon the two hands of thy two sisters. O Ra, the eye of Horus, liveth within the great hall. The eye of Horus liveth, and is unmarked. Chapter 138 of Entering into Abydos. The chapter of entering into Abydos, and of being in the following of Osiris. The Osiris Nu, the overseer of the house of the overseer of the Sil, triumphant, saith, Hail ye gods who dwell in Abydos, ye divine sovereign chiefs who are gathered together. Come ye forward with joy and gladness to meet me, and look ye upon my divine father Osiris. I have been judged, and I have come forth from his shrine. I am Horus, the lord of Kemet, Egypt, and of the red hilly desert. I have taken possession thereof. There is none who have power over him. His eye is mighty against his enemies. He hath avenged his divine father. He hath destroyed the water flood of his mother. He hath crushed his enemies. He hath put down violence mightily, and hath stilled the strength of the god Neb, the divine prince of many peoples. The sovereign of the two lands hath taken possession of the house of his divine father by means of the written decrees. I have been tried in the balance, my word is right and true. I have gained the mastery over my enemies, and bring to naught the things which they work against me. I am strong in the strength which protecteth me. I am the son of Osiris, and my divine father protecteth his body with strength and might. Chapter 139. The Book of the Full Uchat. The book which is to be recited on the last day of the second month of the season Pert, when the Uchat is full in the second month of the season Pert. The Osiris Ath Anka saith, the divine power have risen and shineth in the horizon, and the god Tem hath risen out of the odour of that which floweth from him. The Kus shine in heaven, and Het Ben Benet rejoiceth, for there is among them a form which is like unto themselves. And there are shouts and cries of gladness within the shrine, and the sounds of those who rejoice go round about through the underworld, and homage is paid unto him at the decree of Tem and Heru Kahuti. Hermachus, his majesty, ordereth the company of the gods to follow in the train of his majesty. His majesty ordereth the calling of the Uchat with you to my members. He have given strength to all my limbs, and have made them vigorous with that which cometh forth from the mouth of his majesty. His divine eye resteth upon its seat with his majesty at the hour of the night on the day of the fulfilment of the fourth hour, or 4 hours of the beautiful land. On the last day of the second month of the season Pert, the majesty of the Uchat is in the presence of the company of the gods, and his majesty shineth as he shone in the primeval time when the Uchat was first. Upon his head Ra, Tem, Uchatset, Shu, Seb, Osiris, Suti, Horus, Meneth, Ba, Neher, Tahuti, Nam, Chekta Nut, Isis, Nephius, Hathor, Nehet, Mert, Mart, Anpu, and Ta Mes Teker are the soul and body of Ra. The compilation of the Uchat have been made in the presence of the divine Lord of this earth. It is full to the uttermost, and it resteth or setteth, and these gods are rejoicing on this day, and they have their hands beneath them at the festival of every god. Having been celebrated, they say, Hail, praise be unto thee, O thou who art as Ra. Rejoice in him, for the mariners of his boat sail round about. and he hath overthrown the fiend Apep. Hail, praise be unto thee, O thou who art as Ra, who maketh himself to come into being, in the form of the god Khepera. Hail, praise be unto thee, O thou who art as Ra, for he hath destroyed his enemies. Hail, praise be unto Ra, for he hath crushed the heads of the children of impotent rebellion. And praise and rejoicing be unto the Osiris Arth Anka, triumphant. Chapters 141 and 142 of Making a Man Perfect. Here beginneth the book which a man shall recite for his father or for his son during the festivals of Amentet, whereby he shall make him perfect with Ra and with the gods, and whereby he shall have his existence with them. It shall be recited on the 9th day of the festival. Behold, the Osiris Nu, the overseer of the house of the overseer of the seal, triumphant, maketh offerings of cakes and ale, and oxen, and feathered fowl, and joints of roast meat, and he burneth incense. To Osiris, the governor of Amenti, to Ra Heru Kunti, Ra Hermachus, to Nu, to Ma, to the boat of Ra, to Tamu, to the great company of the gods, to the little company of the gods, to Horus, the lord of the erect crown, to Shu, to Tefnut, to Seb, to Nut, to Isis, to Nephthys, to the temple of the Kas of Nebt-Ertiker, to the raging one of heaven, who raiseth up the god, to Akka dwelling in her place, to the city of Mehet Kebetet, the Sahu of the god, to the goddess greatly beloved with red hair, to the goddess joined unto life with flowing hair, to the goddess whose name is mighty in her works, to the bull, the husband of the divine cow, to the beautiful power of the beautiful rudder of the northern heaven, to him that revolveth the guide of the two lands, the beautiful rudder of the western heaven, to the god of light, who dwelleth in the temple of the Ashamu beings, the beautiful rudder of the eastern heaven, the dweller in the temple of the ruddy ones, the beautiful rudder of the southern heaven, to Mesthi, to Hapi, to Tuam Uatef, to Queb Henseneth, to the Ater of the south, to the Ater of the north, to the Sektet boat, to the Atet boat, to Thoth, to the gods of the south, to the gods of the north, to the gods of the west, to the gods of the east, to the gods of the thigh, to the gods of the funeral offerings, to the great house, to the temple of flame, to the gods of the places of the dead, to the gods of the horizon, to the gods of the fields, to the gods of the divine Purti, to the gods of the divine Nesti, to the roads of the south, to the roads of the north, to the roads of the east, to the roads of the west, to the doors of the underworld, to the pylons of the underworld, to the leaves of the hidden doors, to the hidden doors, to the guardians of the leaves of the doors of the Tuat underworld. To the hidden faces who guard the roads, to the guardians who give divine food, to the guardians of the funeral mountains who give happy faces, to the flaming beings who give forth fire, to the divine burning altars, to those who scatter and extinguish the flame of fire in Amentet, to Osiris Un-Nefer, to Osiris Ankidi, to Osiris Lord of Life, to Osiris Lord of Wholeness, to Osiris Dweller in Peku, to Osiris Orion Sa, to Osiris Sa, to Osiris Dweller in Temples, to Osiris in Resenet, to Osiris in Mehenet, to Osiris Golden One of Million of Years, to Osiris Bati Erpet, to Osiris Ptah Lord of Life, to Osiris Dweller in Restau, to Osiris Dweller in the Funeral Mountain, to Osiris in Uti, to Osiris in Setet, to Osiris in Net Chefet, to Osiris in Resu, to Osiris in Pi, to Osiris in Neteru, to Osiris in Sa the Lover, the Lower, to Osiris in Baket, to Osiris in Sanu, to Osiris in Rehenetet, to Osiris in Apen, to Osiris in Queth Enu, to Osiris Sekri in Petshi, to Osiris Dweller in his city, to Osiris in Peskri, to Osiris in his habitations in the land of the north, to Osiris in heaven, to Osiris in his habitations in Restau, to Osiris Net Chesti, to Osiris Atef to Osiris Sekri, to Osiris Governor of Eternity, to Osiris the Begetter, to Osiris in the water, to Osiris in battle, to Osiris Lord of everlastingness, to Osiris Prince, to Osiris in Taiti, to Osiris in Restau, to Osiris upon his sand, to Osiris dweller in the hall of the cow, to Osiris in Tenetet, to Osiris in Netabet, to Osiris in Sar, to Osiris in Betshu, to Osiris in Tepu, to Osiris in Sar the Upper, to Osiris in Nepert, to Osiris in Shenu, to Osiris in Henket, to Osiris in Tar Sakri, to Osiris in Sheol, to Osiris in Thatharu, to Osiris in Marti, to Osiris in Henna. The book of making perfect the deceased and of making him to advance with long strides and to come forth by day in all the transformations which please him, and to know the names of the god Osiris in every place wherein he chooseth to be. The Osiris Arth Unka, born of Sheret Amsu, triumphant saith, Osiris Un-Nefer, Osiris the living one, Osiris Lord of Life, Osiris Neb-Erteker, Osiris, opener of the back of the two lands. Osiris, dweller in Un. Osiris, dweller in Corn. Osiris, Sar Orion. Osiris, holy crown of the souls of Anu, Heliopolis. Osiris, dweller in Thenet. Osiris in Resenet. Osiris in Mehenet. Osiris, lord of millions of years. Osiris, son of the Urpiti, Isis and Netheus. Osiris, Ptah, lord of life. Osiris, dweller in Restau. Osiris, governor of the world, dwelling in Tatu. Osiris, dweller in the funeral mountain. Osiris, holy soul in Tatu. Osiris in Ati. Osiris in Heset, or as others say, in Neterser. Osiris, lord of Ta Anktet, land of life. Osiris in Sais. Osiris in Nechet. Osiris in the south, or as others say, among the divine sovereign chiefs, Osiris in P. Osiris in Tet. Osiris in Netra. Osiris in Lower Sais. Osiris in Upper Sais. Osiris in An Ratf. Osiris in the two hawk gods. Osiris in Sanu. Osiris in Renan. Osiris in Upper. Osiris in Quen Fenu. Osiris in Sekri. Osiris in Petet. Osiris in his temple in Reseu. Osiris in Niffer. Osiris in Netit. Osiris, dweller in his city. Osiris Henti. Osiris of the two crocodiles. Osiris in Pekis. Osiris in his temple in the land of the south. Osiris in his temple in the land of the north. Osiris in heaven. Osiris on earth. Osiris upon his throne. Osiris in Ateth-ur. Osiris seeker in the cloud chest. In the closed chest. Osiris, prince of eternity in Anu. Osiris the begetter. Osiris in the Sektet boat. Osiris in Retu Nefu. Osiris, lord of eternity. Osiris, lord of everlastingness. Osiris in Tesher. Osiris in Seshet. Osiris in Ut Reset. Osiris in Ut Met. Osiris in Art-urt. Osiris in Apert. Osiris in Shanu. Osiris in He-kenut, or as others say, in Hesert. Osiris in Seker. Osiris in Shal. Osiris Faheru. Osiris in Upek. Osiris in Marti. Osiris in Mena. Osiris, souls of his father. Osiris, lord of the world, king of the gods. Osiris in Bena. Osiris Tai. Osiris on his sand. Osiris, dweller in the hall of his cows. Osiris in Sar. Osiris in Sapti. Osiris in Usher. Osiris in all lands. Osiris, dweller in the pool of the great double house. Osiris in Het Ben Benet, Osiris in Anu, Osiris the aged chief in Anu, Osiris in Hamak, Osiris in Akesh, Osiris in P of Nu, Osiris in the great temple, Osiris, Lord of life in Abutu, Osiris, Lord of Tatu, Osiris, dweller in the throne of his habitations, Osiris, prince in Abutu, Osiris, prince in the hidden place, Osiris in life in Het Karptar, Osiris, Lord of might, destroyer of thy foe, Osiris, bull in Kempt, Osiris Aheti, Osiris Seh, Osiris Heru, Kunti, temple of the body of the great company of the gods, opener of the roads of the south, governor of the two lands, opener of the roads of the north, governor of heaven, Ptah, establisher of the holy seat of Ra. Princes of the gods, Heru, Heru Kenetet, An Mati, Heru Sa Aset, Ansu Suten Heru Neket, An Mut Faber, Kenamu Heru Hetep, Heru Sekai, Heru Kenet Kahati, Heru Tehuti, An Heru, Anpu Kehent Natur Se Nut, Isis, goddess in all her names. Re Sekate, Shent Fit, Hequetit, Nesh Met, boat Lord of Eternity, Nit, Neath Sequet, Mart, Ahit, the four birthplaces in Abutu, Great Meskem, Mesken Sequetbet, Mesken Menket, Mesken Nefret, Ameseth, Harpi, Tuamutef, Quebhen Senaf, Urias within the divine house, gods guides of the Tuat, gods of the Querti, gods goddess within Abutu, shrines north-south, devoted ones of Osiris, Osiris dweller in Amentet, Osiris in his every place, Osiris in his place in the land of the south, Osiris in his place in the land of the north, Osiris in every place where his car wisheth to be, Osiris in all his halls, Osiris in all his creations, Osiris in all his names, Osiris in all his holdings, Osiris in all his risings, Osiris in all his ornamentations, Osiris in all his stations, Heru, Netchet, Tef, Thun in his every name, Anpu, dweller in the Se, whole in his every name, Anpu in the town of Emblement, bits missing. Chapter 143 is in pictures. Chapter 144 of the Arets. The chapter of entering in the Osiris Nu, triumphant saith, the first Aret, Sekhet Hara Asht Aru, is the name of the doorkeeper, of the first Arit. Semetu is the name of the watcher, and Hukeru is the name of the herald thereof. The second Arit, Tunhat, is the name of the doorkeeper of the second Arit. Sequet Hara is the name of the watcher, and Sabes is the name of the herald thereof. The third Arit, Hua Ent Perthi, is the name of the doorkeeper of the third Arit. Reshara is the name of the watcher, and Ua is the name of the herald thereof. The fourth Arit, Kehes Hara Asht Kuheru, is the name of the doorkeeper of the fourth Arit. Resab is the name of the watcher, and Neketa Hara Kesef Atu is the name of the herald thereof. The fifth Arit, Aka M Fentu, is the name of the doorkeeper of the fourth Arit. Ashabu is the name of the watcher, and Teb Hura Kehat is the name of the herald thereof. The sixth Arit, Akin Tuau Kuha Kiru, is the name of the doorkeeper of the sixth Arit. Anhara is the name of the watcher, and Metus Hara Arishi is the name of the herald thereof. The seventh Arit, Metasen, is the name of the doorkeeper of the seventh Arit. Akiru is the name of the watcher, and Kesef Hara Kemiu is the name of the herald thereof. Hail ye, Aratus! Hail ye who make the Arits for Osiris! Hail ye who watch your Arits! Hail ye who herald the affairs of the two lands for the god Osiris each day. The Osiris Nu, the overseer of the house of the overseer of the Sil, triumphant, knoweth you, and he knoweth your names. The Osiris Nu hath been born in Restau, and every glory of the horizon and every honour have been given unto him. The Osiris Nu is in the city of Pi, like the pure being. Osiris, the Osiris Nu, hath received acclamations in Restau, and the gods lead him over the horizon along with the divine princes who are behind Osiris. I am the divine one among them, and I am their leader. The Osiris Nu is Aku, the lord of the Kus, Aku who worketh. The Osiris Nu celebrateth the monthly festival, and he is the herald of the half-monthly festival. Hail thou that revolvest the Osiris Nu is under the fiery eye of Horus, and he is under the hand of Thoth, on the night when he travelleth over heaven in triumph. The Osiris Nu passeth onwards in peace, and he journeyeth in the boat of Ra. The strength which protecteth the Osiris Nu is the strength which protecteth the boat of Ra. The Osiris Nu hath a name greater than yours, and he is greater than ye are on the path of Ma'at. The Osiris abominateth defeat. The strength which protecteth the Osiris Nu is the strength which protecteth Horus, the firstborn of Ra. He hath made his heart, and the Osiris Nu shall not be constrained, and he shall not be repulsed at the arts of the god Osiris. The Osiris Nu have been provided with all things by the double lying God, and the pure one is in the following of Osiris, the governor of Amenti, throughout the course of each day daily. His fields are in Sekheti Hetep, with the divine beings who know things, and with those who perform things for the Osiris Nu by the hand of Thoth, among those who make offerings of propitiation. And Anubis had commanded him that dwelleth among offerings, that the offerings of the Osiris Nu shall be with him, and that they shall not be taken away from him by those divine beings who dwell in fetters. The Osiris Nu, the overseer of the house of the overseer of the seal, triumphant, cometh like unto Horus, in the splendour of the horizon of heaven, and Ra hath set him in order for the arats of the horizon. The gods rejoice in him when they meet him. The amulets of the god are for the Osiris Nu. The god Neb shall not come to him, and the doorkeepers of the arats shall not overthrow him. The Osiris Nu is hidden of face within the great celestial house, which is the shrine of the god, and he arriveth there in the following of the pure one Hathor. The Osiris Nu createth multitudes of human beings. He maketh Ma to advance to Ra, and he destroyeth the twofold strengths of Apep. The Osiris Nu maketh a way through the firmament. He driveth away the whirlwind and the storm. He maketh the mariners of Ra to live, and he maketh offerings to come unto the place where he is. The Osiris Nu causeth a boat to be made. He travelleth therein happily. The Osiris Nu maketh a way, and he advanceth thereon. The face of Osiris Nu is like that of the god Peheth, by reasons of the might, and of the Osiris Nu is the Lord of might. The Osiris Nu is at rest in the horizon, and he is valiant to overthrow you. O ye Nesheshu gods, make a path then for your Lord Osiris. Chapter 145, the chapter of the pylons. Here begin the chapters of the pylons of Sekhet Ani, of the house of Osiris. The Osiris Af Anka, triumphant, saith, Homage to thee, saith Horus, O thou first pylon of the still heart. I have made my way. I know thee, and I know thy name, and I know the name of the god who guardeth thee, Lady of trembling, with lofty walls, the sovereign lady, the mistress of destruction, who setteth in order the words which drive back the whirlwind and the storm, who delivereth from destruction him that travelleth along the way, is thy name. The name of the god who guardeth thee is Neru. I have washed myself in the water wherein the god Ra washeth himself when he leaveth the eastern part of the sky. I have anointed myself with Hati unguent made from the cedar. I have arrayed myself in apparel of Menka, and I have with me my sceptre of Heti wood. Saith the pylon, Pass on then, thou art pure. The Osiris Af Anka, triumphant, saith, Homage to thee, saith Osiris, O thou second pylon of the still heart. I have made my way, I know thee, and I know thy name, and I know the name of the God who guardeth thee. Lady of heaven, the mistress of the world, who teareth the earth from the place of thy body, is thy name. The name of the God who guardeth thee is Mesptah. I have washed myself in the water wherein the god Osiris washeth himself, to whom were given the Sektet boat and the Martet boat, when he came forth over Amurt and passed through the pylons. I have anointed myself with the unguent of the festivals. I have arrayed myself in apparel of Seshet, and I have with me my sceptre of Ben wood. Saith the pylon, pass on then, thou art pure. The Osiris Arth-Anchor triumphant saith, homage to thee, saith Horus, O thou third pylon of the still heart. I have made my way, I know thee, and I know thy name, and I know the name of the God who guardeth thee. Lady of pylons, lady to whom abundant offerings are made, who giveth whatsoever is there. The guide of the offerings, who gratifieth the gods, who giveth the day for the sailing up of the boat Neshemet to Abutu, Abydos, is thy name. The name of the God who guardeth thee is Bek. I have washed myself in the water wherein the god Ptah washeth when he saileth up to carry away the god Henu on the day of opening the face. I have anointed myself with Hati, unguent made of Kekenu, unguent, and of Tehenu, unguent. I have arrayed myself in apparel of Sesha, and I have with me my sceptre of Ahen wood. Saith the pylon, pass on then, thou art pure. The Osiris Arth-Anchor triumphant saith, homage to thee, saith Horus, O thou fourth pylon of the still heart. I have made my way, I know thee, and I know thy name, and I know the name of the God who guardeth thee. She who prevaileth with knives, the mistress of the two lands, who destroyeth the enemies of the still heart, who maketh the decree for the escape of the needy from evil hap, is thy name. The name of the God who guardeth thee is Hu-Tepah. I have washed myself in the water wherein the God Ur-Nefer triumphant washeth himself when he hath had a dispute with Set, and when victory is given unto him. I have anointed myself with Sunat unguent, and with Enen unguent. I am pure. I have arrayed myself in Sesha apparel, like unto that in which thy son was arrayed. Bits missing. And I have with me my sceptre of Tuatatu wood. Saith the pylon, pass on then, thou art pure. The Osiris Arth-Anchor triumphant saith, homage to thee, saith Horus, O thou fifth pylon of the still heart. I have made my way, I know thee, and I know thy name. I know the name of the God who guardeth thee, Lady of splendour, Lady of praises, lofty one, Neb-er-tchert, the lady to whom supplications are made, and unto whom none entereth. Bits missing. Is thy name. The name of the God who guardeth thee is Ertahen-er-Requa. I have washed myself in the water wherein Horus washed himself, when he made himself the chief reader and Sa-Merf for his father Osiris. I have anointed myself with Abba unguent, made of holy offerings. I have upon me the skin of the panther, and I have with me my sceptre, wherewith to smite those who are black of heart. Saith the pylon, pass on then, thou art pure. The Osiris Auf-Ankh, triumphant, saith, homage to thee, saith Horus, O thou sixth pylon of the still heart. I have made my way. I know thee, and I know thy name, and I know the name of the God who guardeth thee. Bits missing. Lady, to whom abundant supplication is made. Bits missing. The difference between whose height and breadth is unknown, the like of whom for strength hath not been overturned since the beginning. The number of the serpents which are there upon their bellies is unknown. The divine image, the strengthener, out of the night, being born in the presence of the still heart, is thy name. The name of the God who guardeth thee is Santi. I have washed myself in the water wherein the god Thoth washed himself when he made himself the Tchat of Horus. I have anointed myself with Akka unguent. I have arrayed myself in apparel of Festus, and I have with me my sceptre of sept wood. Saith the pylon, pass on then, thou art pure. The Osiris Auf-Ankh, triumphant, saith, homage to thee, saith Horus, O thou seventh pylon of the still heart. I have made my way. I know thee, and I know thy name, and I know the name of the God who guardeth thee. Water flood, which clotheth the feeble one, weeper for that which she loveth, shrouding the body, is thy name. The name of the God who guardeth thee is Amnit. I have washed myself in the water wherein the goddesses Isis and Netheus washed themselves when they passed the crocodile with his crocodiles on their way to the opening of the place of purity. I have anointed myself with Kekenu unguent. I have arrayed myself in Anka apparel, and I have with me my sceptre and my paddle. Saith the pylon, pass on then, thou art pure. The Osiris Auf-Ankh, triumphant, saith, homage to thee, saith Horus, O thou eighth pylon of the still heart. I have made my way. I know thee, and I know thy name, and I know the name of the God who guardeth thee. She that belongeth to her Lord, the mighty goddess, the gracious one, the lady who giveth birth to the divine form of her Lord, or as others say, who passeth through and traverseth the land, the head of which is millions of cubits in depth and in height, is thy name. The name of the God who guardeth thee is Netchesus. I have washed myself in the water wherein the god Anpu washed when he had performed the office of Emblamer and Banager, or as others say, the chief reader of Osiris. I have anointed myself with Sept unguent. I have arrayed myself in apparel of Anima, and I have my garment of Enon stuff, or as others say, of cat skin with me, saith the pylon. Pass on then, thou art pure. The Osiris Auf Anchor triumphant saith, Homage to thee, saith Horus, O thou ninth pylon of the still heart. I have made my way. I know thee, and I know thy name. And I know the name of the God who guardeth thee. Blazing flame of Horus, which cannot be extinguished, which having passed is followed by another, which is provided with tongues of flame that project to destroy, irresistible and impassable by any, by reason of the injury which it doeth, is thy name. There is fear through the might of its roaring. The name of the God who guardeth thee is Kuartichetf. I have washed myself in the water wherein the Ram, Lord of Tatu, washed himself thoroughly from one end of his body to the other. I have anointed myself with Aunt Unguent of the divine members, and with Unca Unguent I have arrayed myself in a tunic of fair white linen, and I have with me my sceptre of Benin wood, saith the pylon. Pass on then, thou art pure. The Osiris Auf Anchor triumphant saith, Homage to thee, saith Horus, O thou 10th pylon of the still heart. I have made my way. I know thee, and I know thy name. And I know the name of the God who guardeth thee. Lofty of gates, who raiseth up those who cry, who art terrible unto him that would come unto thee, or as others say, she who maketh one to make supplication by reason of the loudness of her voice, vanquisher of the foe, who is not constrained by that which is within her, is thy name. The name of the God who watcheth thee is Sekhen-Er. I have washed myself in the water wherein the god Astus washed himself when he entered in to be an advocate for Set within the hidden chamber. I have anointed myself with Teshin unguent, and I have with me a sceptre made of the bone of the bird Teshker, having a head like that of a greyhound. Saith the pylon, Pass on then, thou art pure. The Osiris Auf Anchor triumphant saith, Homage to thee, saith Horus, O thou 11th pylon of the still heart. I have made my way. I know thee, and I know thy name, and I know the name of the being who is within thee. She who representeth slaughterers, who burneth up the fiends, the mistress of every pylon, the lady to whom acclamation is made on the day of hearing iniquity, is thy name. Thou hast the judgment of the feeble bandaged one, saith the pylon. Pass on then, thou art pure. The Osiris Arth-Anchor, triumphant, saith, Homage to thee, saith Horus, O thou 12th pylon of the still heart. I have made my way. I know thee, and I know thy name, and I know the name of the being who is within thee. She who journeyeth about in the two lands, who destroyeth those who come with flashings and with fire, the Lady of Splendour, who hearkeneth to the word of her Lord every day, is thy name. Thou hast the judgment of the feeble bandaged one, saith the pylon. Pass on then, thou art pure. The Osiris Arth-Anchor, triumphant, saith, Homage to thee, saith Horus, O thou 13th pylon of the still heart. I have made my way. I know thee, and I know thy name, and I know the name of the being who is within thee. When the company of the gods is led along, their hands are raised in adoration before her face, and the watery abyss shineth with light by reason of those who are therein, is thy name. Thou hast the judgment of the feeble bandaged one, saith the pylon. Pass on then, thou art pure. Then Osiris Arth-Anchor, triumphant, saith, Homage to thee, saith Horus, O thou 14th pylon of the still heart. I have made my way. I know thee, and I know thy name, and I know the name of the being who is within thee, mighty one of souls, red of hair, Arch-Habit, who cometh forth by night, who destroyeth the fiends in their crested forms, which their hands give to the still heart in his hour. The one who cometh and goeth is thy name. She have the judgment of the feeble bandaged one, saith the pylon. Pass on then, thou art pure. The Osiris Arth-Anchor, triumphant, saith, Homage to thee, saith Horus, O thou 15th pylon of the still heart. I have made my way. I know thee, and I know thy name. I know the name of the being who is within thee, Lady of Valour, destroyer of the ruddy ones, who celebrateth the Heker festivals, when the fire is extinguished on the day of hearing. Cases of iniquity is thy name. She hath the judgment of the feeble bandaged one, saith the pylon. Pass on then, thou art pure. The Osiris Arth-Anchor, triumphant, saith, Homage to thee, saith Horus, O thou 16th pylon of the still heart. I have made my way. I know thee, and I know thy name, and I know the name of the being who is within thee, Lady of Victory, whose hand goeth after the fiends, who burneth with flames of fire. When she cometh forth, Creator of the mysteries of the earth is thy name. She have the judgment of the feeble bandaged one, saith the pylon. Pass on then, thou art pure. The Osiris Arth-Anchor, triumphant, saith, Homage to thee, saith Horus, O thou 17th pylon of the still heart. I have made my way. I know thee, and I know thy name, and I know the name of the being who is within thee, mighty one in the horizon, Lady of the ruddy ones, destroyer in blood, Arch-Habit, power, Lady of flame is thy name. She have the judgment of the feeble bandaged one, saith the pylon. Pass on then, thou art pure. The Osiris Arth-Anchor triumphant saith, Homage to thee, saith Horus, O thou 18th pylon of the still heart. I have made my way. I know thee, and I know thy name. And I know the name of the being who is within thee. Lover of flame, pure one, hearkening unto the bits missing. Behold, she loveth to cut off the heads of the venerated ones. Lady of the great house, destroyer of fiends, at eventide is thy name. She have the judgment of the feeble-bandaged one, saith the pylon. Pass on then, thou art pure. The Osiris Arth-Anchor triumphant saith, Homage to thee, saith Horus, O thou 19th pylon of the still heart. I have made my way. I know thee, and I know thy name, and I know the name of the being who is within thee. Dispenser of strength, or as others say, of light of the palace, the mighty one of the flame, the lady of the strength, and of the writings of Ptah himself, is thy name. She have the judgment of the feeble-bandaged one, saith the pylon. Pass on then, thou art pure. The Osiris Arth-Anchor triumphant saith, Homage to thee, saith Horus, O thou 20th pylon of the still heart. I know thee, and I know thy name, and I know the name of the being who is within thee. Stone of her lord, filled with a serpent. Clover, what she createth, she hiddeth, taking possession of hearts. Opener of herself is thy name. She have the judgment of the feeble-bandaged one, saith the pylon. Pass on then, thou art pure. The Osiris Arth-Anchor triumphant saith, Homage to thee, saith Horus, O thou 21st pylon of the still heart. I have made my way. I know thee, and I know thy name, and I know the name of the God who guardeth thee. Sword that smiteth at the utterance of its own name. Goddess with face turned backwards. The unknown one, overthrower of him that draweth nigh to her flame, is thy name. Thou keepest the secret things of the avenger of the God who guardeth thee, and his name is Amun. He maketh it to come to pass that the cedar tree grow not, that the acacia trees bring not forth, and that copper is not begotten in the mountain. The divine sovereign chiefs of this pylon are as 7 gods. Teken, or At, is the name of the one at the door. Hetepmes is the name of the second. Mesep is the name of the third. Achri is the name of the fourth. Upra is the name of the fifth. Brek is the name of the 6th. Anpu is the name of the 7th. I have made my way. I am Amassu Heru, the avenger of his father, the heir of his father, Unnefer. I have come, and I have caused to be overthrown all the enemies of my father Osiris. I have come day by day with victory, doing myself the worship of the god, in the house of his father Tem, the lord of Anu. the Osiris Auf Anchor, triumphant, is the southern heaven. I have done what is right and true for him that made right and truth. I have celebrated the Hakkah festivals for the Lord thereof. I have led the way in the festivals. I have given cakes unto the lords of the altar. And I have brought offerings and oblations and cakes and ale and oxen and ducks to my father Osiris Unnefer. I have my being in a body which hath a soul, and I make the Benu bird to come forth at my words. I have come daily into the house of the God to make offerings of incense. I have brought garments of bias, and I have sailed on the sacred lake in the Neshem boat. I have made Osiris the governor of Amentet to be triumphant over his enemies. I have carried away all his foes to the place of slaughter in the east, and they shall never come forth from the durance of the god Seb therein. I stand up for him, along with the divine Kethui of Ra, and I make him to be triumphant. I have come even as a scribe, and I have made all things plain. I have made the god to have power over his legs. I have come into the house of him that is upon his hill, Anubis, and I have seen him that is ruler in the divine hall, Anubis. I have entered into Restau. I have hidden myself, and I have found out the way. I have travelled unto Anrutf. I have clothed him that was naked. I have sailed up to Abydos. I have praised the gods Hu and Suel. I have entered into the house of Estes, and I have made supplication to the Kati gods and to Sekhet in the temple of Neith, or as others say, to the princes. I have entered into Restau. I have hidden myself, and I have found out the way. I have travelled unto Anrutf. I have clothed him who was naked. I have sailed up to Abutu. I have praised Hu and Sar. I have received my crown at my rising, and I have crowned myself upon my throne in the habitation of my father and of the first company of the gods. I have worshipped in my birthplace of Ta Teshetert, and my mouth is filled with right and truth. I have drowned the serpent Akaha. I have come into the great house which giveth vigour unto the limbs, and it have been granted unto me to sail about in the boat of Hai. The fragrance of unguent ariseth from the hair of the beings who have knowledge. I have entered into the house of Estes, and I have made supplication unto the Kati goddesses and unto Sekhet in the temple of the prince. Saith the pylon, thou hast come, being a favoured one into two, O Osiris Auf Anchor, triumphant son of Sheheret Amasu, triumphant. Chapter 146. The chapters of the secret pylons. Here begin the chapters of entering in at the secret pylons of the house of Osiris in Sekhet Aneru. I, the Osiris Nu, the overseer of the house of the overseer of the sill, triumphant, when he cometh to the first pylon of Osiris, saith, I have made my way, I know you, and I know your name, and I know the name of the God who guardeth you, Lady of tremblings, with lofty walls, the sovereign lady of the mistress of destruction, who setteth in order the words which driveth back the whirlwind and the storm, who delivereth from destruction him that travelleth along the way, is thy name. The name of thy doorkeeper is Neri. The Osiris knew, when he cometh to the second pylon of Osiris, saith, I have made my way, I know you, and I know your name, and I know the name of the God who guardeth you, Lady of heaven, the mistress of the world, who devoureth with fire, the Lady of mortals, who knoweth mankind, is thy name. The name of thy doorkeeper is Mesper, or Mesptar. The Osiris knew, when he cometh to the third pylon of Osiris, saith, I have made my way, I know you, and I know your name, and I know the name of the God who guardeth you, Lady of the altar, the lady to whom abundant offerings are made, in whom every god rejoiceth on the day of sailing up to Abydos, is thy name. The name of thy doorkeeper is Ertat Sebanqua. The Osiris knew, when he cometh to the fourth pylon of Osiris, saith, I have made my way, I know you, and I know your name, and I know the name of the God who guardeth you, she who prevaileth with knives, the mistress of the world, destroyer of the foes of the still heart, who maketh the decree for the escape of the needy from evil hap, is thy name. The name of thy doorkeeper is Necho. The Osiris knew, when he cometh to the fifth pylon of Osiris, saith, I have made my way, I know you, and I know your name, and I know the name of the God who guardeth you, Fire, the Lady of flames, who inhaleth the supplications which are made to her, who permitteth not the bit missing to enter in, is thy name. The name of thy doorkeeper is Henti Requ. The Osiris knew, when he cometh to the sixth pylon of Osiris, saith, I have made my way, I know you, and I know your name, and I know the name of the God who guardeth you, Lady of light, the lady to whom abundant supplications is made. The difference between her height and her breadth is unknown. The like of her hath never been found. Since the beginning, there is a serpent thereupon whose size is not known. It was born in the presence of the still heart, is thy name. The name of the doorkeeper is Samati. The Osiris knew, when he cometh to the seventh pylon of Osiris, saith, I have made my way, I know you, and I know your name, and I know the name of the God who guardeth you, robe which doth clothe the divine feeble one, weeping for what it loveth, and shrouding the body, is thy name. The name of the doorkeeper is Akenti. The Osiris knew, when he cometh to the eighth pylon of Osiris, saith, I have made my way, I know you, and I know your name. And I know the name of the God who guardeth you, blazing fire, the flame whereof cannot be quenched, provided with tongues of flame, which reach afar, the slaughtering one, the irresistible one, through whom a man may not pass by reason of the hurt which she doeth is thy name. The name of the doorkeeper is Cu-Tchet. The Osiris knew when he cometh to the 9th pylon of Osiris saith, I have made my way. I know you, and I know your name. And I know the name of the God who guardeth you. She who is in front, the lady of strength, quiet of heart, who giveth birth to her Lord, whose girth is 350 measures, who sendeth forth rays like the Nach stone of the south, who raiseth up the divine form and clotheth the feeble one, who giveth offerings to her Lord every day is thy name. The name of the doorkeeper is Tesheth. The Osiris knew when he cometh to the 10th pylon of Osiris, saith, I have made my way. I know you, and I know your name. And I know the name of the God who guardeth you. Thou who art loud of voice, who raisest up those who cry, and who make supplication unto her, whose voice is loud, the terrible one, the lady who is to be feared, who destroyeth not that which is in her, is thy name. The name of the doorkeeper is Sekhen The Osiris knew when he cometh to the 11th pylon of Osiris, saith, I have made my way. I know you, and I know your name. And I know the name of her who is within thee. She who slaughtereth always, the burner up of fiends, mistress of every pylon, the lady to whom acclamation is made on the day of darkness is thy name. She hath the judgment of the feeble bandaged one. The Osiris knew when he cometh to the 12th pylon of Osiris, saith, I have made my way. I know you, and I know your name, and I know the name of her who is within thee. Thou who invokest thy two lands, who destroyest those who come with flashings and with fire, the lady of splendour, who hearkeneth unto the speech of her Lord, is thy name. She hath the judgment of the feeble bandaged one. The Osiris knew when he cometh to the 13th pylon of Osiris, saith, I have made my way. I know you, and I know your name, and I know the name of her who is within thee. Osiris bringeth his two hands over her, and maketh the god Harpy, the Nile, to send forth splendour out of his hidden places, is thy name. She hath the judgment of the feeble bandaged one. The Osiris knew when he cometh to the 14th pylon of Osiris, saith, I have made my way. I know you, and I know your name, and I know the name of her who is within thee. Lady of might, who danceth on the blood-red ones, who keepeth the festival of Haker on the day of the hearing of faults, is thy name. She hath the judgment of the feeble bandaged one. The 15th pylon, the Osiris Heru Kebetet, triumphant, saith, when he cometh to this pylon, the fiend, red of hair and eyes, who cometh forth by night, and doth fetter the fiend in his lair. May her hands be given to the still heart in his hour, and may she advance and go forward is thy name. She have the judgment of the feeble bandaged one. The 16th pylon, the Osiris Heru Kebet, triumphant, saith, when he cometh forth to this pylon, terrible one, the lady of the rainstorm, who planteth ruin in the souls of men, the devourer of the dead bodies of mankind, the orderer and producer and creator of slaughter is thy name. She have the judgment of the feeble bandaged one. The 17th pylon, the Osiris Heru Kebet, triumphant, saith, when he cometh forth to this pylon, here in pieces, in blood, a habit, lady of hair, is thy name. She have the judgment of the feeble bandaged one. The 18th pylon, the Osiris Heru Kebet, triumphant, saith, when he cometh to this pylon, lover of the fire, pure of slaughterings, which she loveth, cutter of heads, venerated one, lady of the great house, destroyer of fiends at eventide, is thy name. She have the judgment of the feeble bandaged one. The 19th pylon, the Osiris Heru Kehebet, triumphant, saith, when he cometh to this pylon, dispenser of light during her period of life, watcher of flames, the lady of the strength and of the writings of the god Ptah himself, is thy name. She have the judgment of the bandages of Per-An or Per-Hech. The 20th pylon, the Osiris Heru Kebet, triumphant, saith, when he cometh to this pylon, she who dwelleth within the cavern of her lord, Clover is her name. She hideth what she hath created, she taketh possession of hearts, she swalloweth is thy name. She have the judgment of the bandages of Per-An or Per-Hech. The 21st pylon, the Osiris Heru Kehebet, triumphant, saith, when he cometh to this pylon, knife which cutteth when its name is uttered, and saith, those who advance towards its flames is thy name. She have secret plots and counsels. Chapter 147. The first Arit. The name of the doorkeeper is Sekhet Hara Asht Aru. The name of the watcher is Semeti. The name of the herald is Hakaru. Then Osiris Ani, triumphant, shall say, when he cometh unto the first Arit, I am the mighty one, who createth his own light. I have come unto thee, O Osiris, and purified from that which defileth thee. I adore thee. Lead on. Name not the name of Restau unto me. Homage to thee, O Osiris, in thy might and in thy strength, in Restau. Rise up and conquer, O Osiris, in Abutu. Thou goest round about heaven, thou sailest in the presence of Ra. Thou lookest upon all the beings who have knowledge. Hail Ra, thou who circlest in the sky. Verily I say, O Osiris, I am the spiritual body, Sa, of the god, and I say, let me not be driven hence nor upon the wall of burning coals. Open the way in Restau, ease the pain of Osiris, embrace that which the balance hath weighed, make a path for him in the great valley, make light to be on the way to Osiris. The second arit. The name of the doorkeeper is Unhat. The name of the watcher is Sequet Hara. The name of the herald is Uset. The Osiris Ani triumphant shall say when he cometh to this arit, he sitteth to do his heart's desire, and he weigheth words as the second of Thoth. The strength which protecteth thou humbleth the hidden mart gods, who feed upon mart throughout the years of their lives. I make offerings at the moment when he maketh his way. I pass on and enter upon the way. Grant thou that I may pass onwards, and that I may gain sight of Ra, together with those who make offerings. The third arit. The name of the doorkeeper is Hatutu Ent Pehi. The name of the watcher is Serashara. The name of the herald is Ah. The Osiris Ani triumphant shall say, when he cometh to this arit, I am the hidden one in the great deep. I am the judge of the Rehetu. I have come and I have done away with the offensive thing which was upon Osiris. I am fastening the place whereon he shall stand, which projecteth from the erect crown. I have perfected matters in Abutu. I have opened the way in Restau. I have eased the pain which was in Osiris. I have made straight his standing place, and I have made his path. He shineth in Restau. The fourth arit. The name of the doorkeeper is Kesef Hara Asht Kahuru. The name of the watcher is Seres Tepu. The name of the herald is Kesef Art. The Osiris Ani triumphant shall say, when he cometh to this arit, I am the bull, the son of the ancestress of Osiris. O grant ye that his father, the lord of his godlike companions, may bear witness for him. I have weighed the guilty in judgment. I have brought upon his nostrils the life which is everlasting. I am the son of Osiris. I have made the way. I have passed thereover into Neter Kahert. The fifth arit. The name of the doorkeeper is Anka F.M. Fent. The name of the watcher is Shabu. The name of the herald is Tebhara Ha-Kef. The Osiris Ani triumphant shall say, when he cometh to this arit, I have brought unto thee the bones of thy jaws in Restau. I have brought thee thy backbone in Anu, Helipolis, gathering together its manifold parts therein. I have driven back a pep for thee. I have spit upon the wounds which are in him. I have made a path among you. I am the ancient one among the gods. I have made the offerings of Osiris. I have avenged him in triumph. gathering his bones and bringing together all his limbs. The sixth Arit. The name of the doorkeeper is Atek Tau Kahag Keru. The name of the watcher is An-Hara. The name of the herald is Atas-Hara Arishi. The Osiris Ani, triumphant, shall say, when he cometh to this Arit, I have come daily. I have come daily. I have made my way. I have passed along that which was created by Anpu, Anubis. I am the lord of the Erech realm, possessing words of magical power, the avenger of Ma'at. I have avenged his eye. I have delivered Osiris, and I have made the way. The Osiris Ani passeth along with you in triumph. The seventh Arit. The name of the doorkeeper is Sekemet M. Tesu Sen. The name of the watcher is Ama Keru. The name of the herald is Kesef Kemi. The Osiris Ani, triumphant, shall say, when he cometh to this Arit, I have come unto thee, O Osiris, who art cleansed of thine impurities. Thou goest round about heaven, thou seest Ra, thou seest the beings who have knowledge. Hail, only one, behold, thou art in the Sektet boat, as it goeth round about the horizon of heaven. I speak what I will unto his spiritual body, Sa. It waxeth strong, and it cometh into being, even as he spake. Thou meetest his face. Prosper thou for me all the ways which lead unto thee. Chapter 148 of Providing Food. The chapter of providing the deceased with food in the underworld. The Osiris Nu, the overseer of the house of the overseer of the Sil, triumphant, the son of the overseer of the house of the overseer of the Sil, Amen-Hetep, triumphant, saith, Homage to thee, O thou who shinest from thy disk, thou living soul, who comest forth from the horizon. The Osiris Nu knoweth thee, and he knoweth thy name, and he knoweth the name of thy seven kin, and of the bull that belongeth unto them. Hail ye who give cakes and ale and splendour to the souls, who are provided with food in the underworld. Grant ye cakes and ale unto the Osiris Nu. Provide ye him with food, let him be in your following, and let him be borne upon your thighs. Here follow the names of the seven kin and their bull, with the address to them by the deceased. Iletkau Ned Ertiker, Akert Kehent Assets Me Kehebet Sarniter, Ermeratu Te Shuhert, Sheni, Kemet M Anka Anit, Sekemet Ren Sem Abets, Shanatpet Utheset Neter, Ka Tukai, Kuat. Hail ye cows and bull, grant ye cakes and ale, and offerings of food to the Osiris Nu, and supply ye him with food, and make him to be a perfect coup in the underworld. Here follow the addresses to the four rudders by the deceased. Hail thou beautiful power, thou beautiful rudder of the northern heaven. Hail thou who revolvest, thou pilot of the two lands, thou beautiful rudder of the western heaven. Hail thou shining one, who dwellest in the temple, wherein are the gods' invisible forms, thou beautiful rudder of the eastern heaven. Hail thou who dwellest within the temple of the ruddy beings, thou beautiful rudder of the southern heaven. Grant ye cakes and ale, and offerings of food, and splendour to the Khu of the Osiris Nu. Grant ye unto him life, and strength and health, and abiding joy of heart upon earth. Grant ye upon him triumph in the horizon of Anu, and in heaven, and upon earth, and in the underworld. Bits missing? Here follow the addresses to the four triads. Hail ye fathers of the gods, hail ye mothers of the gods, ye who are above the earth and who dwell in the underworld. Deliver ye the Osiris Nu from every obstacle of evil, from every attack of evil, from the cruel snare, and from the slaughtering knives, and from every wicked and evil thing, whatsoever which ye could order to be done unto him, by men and by gods, and by the Kus, and by the dead, on this day, or on this night, or in this month, or in this half-monthly festival, or in this year, or in any of the seasons thereof whatsoever. Chapter 149. The first art. The first art, which is to be painted green, the Osiris Nu, the overseer of the house of the overseer of the seal triumphant, saith, Hail thou art of Amentet, wherein a man liveth upon cakes and ale. Remove thy wigs when I come towards thee, and behold the mighty God who dwelleth in thee hath bound up my bones, and he hath established my members, and the Ahi, the Lord of hearts, hath gathered together my bones, and hath established the erect crown of Tem upon my head, and Neheb Kal hath established for me my head. Full and established is the balance. Thou shalt have dominion among the gods, O Amasuquet. The second art. The second art, which is painted green, the goal therein is Ra Haru Kuti. The Osiris Nu saith, I am the mighty one of possessions in Sekhet Aru. Hail thou Sekhet Aru, the walls of which are of iron. The height of the wheat thereof is 5 cubits, the ears thereof being 2 cubits long, and the stalks 3 cubits. The barley thereof is 7 cubits in height, the ears being 3 cubits long, and the stalks 4 cubits. And behold, the Kus, each of whom therein is 9 cubits in height. Reap the wheat and the barley side by side with Haru Kuhuti. Hamakis, I know the door which is in the middle of Sekhet Aru, wherefrom Ra cometh forth into the eastern part of heaven. The southern portion thereof is in the lake of the Karufal, and the northern portion thereof is in the canal of the Refal, in the place wherein Ra saileth round about, by means of the winds which bear him along. I am he who watcheth the levers in the divine boat. I am in the boat, and I am he who doth navigate it without ceasing. I know the 2 sycamore trees of turquoise, from between which the god Ra doth emerge when he setteth out upon his journey. Over the pillars of Shu, towards the door of the Lord of the East, wherefrom Ra cometh forth. I know the Sekhet Aru of Ra. The wheat therein is 5 cubits in height, the ears being 2 cubits long, and the stalks 3 cubits. The barley thereof is 7 cubits in height, the ears being 3 cubits long, and the stalks 4 cubits. And behold, the Cus therein, who are 9 cubits in height, reap the wheat and the barley side by side with the divine souls of the East. The third art. The third art, which is to be painted green, the Osiris Nu, triumphant, saith, Hail thou art of the Cus, whereover none can sail, and wherein are the Cus, the fire thereof is blazing with flame. Hail thou art of the Cus, your faces are in the land, make clear your ways, and purify ye your arts, and what hath been decreed by Osiris, do ye for me forever. I am the mighty one of the Teshert crown, which is on the brow of the God of light, and which maintaineth in life the 2 lands, and the men and women thereof, by means of the flame of its mouth, the god Ra hath been delivered from the fiend Apep. The fourth art, which is painted green, the Osiris Nu, triumphant, saith, Hail thou who art chief of the hidden art, hail thou one who art lofty and great, who dwellest in the underworld, over whom the heaven spreadeth itself. Thou art 300 measures in length, and 230 measures in width, and thou hast over thee a serpent, the name of which is Sati Temui. He is 70 cubits in length, and he liveth by slaughtering the Cus and the dead who are in the underworld. I stand up in thy enclosure, O Ma. I sail round about, and I see the way which leadeth unto thee. I gather myself together to thee. I am the man, and I clothe thy head. I am strong, and I have become strong. I am the God who is mighty in enchantments. My 2 eyes have been given to me. I am glorious therewith. Who art thou, O Ku, that goest upon thy belly, and whose 2-fold strength is upon thy mountain? Grant thou unto me, that I may go unto thee, and that thy 2-fold strength may be with me. I lift up myself by thou 2-fold strength. I have come, and I have vanquished the Akiru, servant of Ra. His peace is to me at eventide. I revolve in it, the heavens, and thou art in the mountain valley. A decree hath been made concerning thee upon earth. The fifth art. The fifth art, which is to be painted green, the Osiris Nu, triumphant, saith, Hail thou art of the Cus, whereover none may pass. The Cus who are therein have thighs 7 cubits long, and they live upon the shades of the weak and helpless. Hail thou art of the Cus, open ye unto me your ways, so that I may pass by you and may go on to the beautiful Amentet, according to that which Osiris the Ku, the Lord of Cus, hath decreed. I live by reason of my splendour. I perform every festival of the month, and I observe rightly the festival of the half month. I revolve, and the eye of Horus is under my hand in the following of Thoth. The mouth of every god and of every dead person devoureth mine enemies this day, and he falleth down at the block of slaughter. The sixth and seventh art. The sixth art, which is to be painted green, the Osiris Nu triumphant saith, Hail thou, Amenhet, which art holy unto the gods, and art hidden unto the Kus, and art baleful unto the dead. The name of the god who dwelleth therein is Seker-At. Homage to thee, O Amenhet. I have come to see the gods who dwell in thee. Uncover your faces, and lay down your headdresses, when ye meet me. For behold, I am a mighty God among you, and I have come to prepare provisions for you. Let not Seker-At have dominion over me. Let not the divine slaughterers come after me. Let not the murderous fiends come after me. But let me live upon sepulchral offerings among you. The seventh art, which is to be painted green, the Osiris Nu triumphant saith, Hail thou city of Asses, which art remote from sight, and the fire of which is in the flame. There is a serpent within thee, and his name is Rerek. The length of his backbone is 7 cubits, and he liveth upon the Kus, and he annihilateth their glories, strength. Get back, O Rerek, who dwellest in the city of Asses, who devourest with thy mouth, and from whose eyes evil looks pour forth. Let thy bones be broken, and let thy emissions be impotent. Come thou not against me, and let not thy emissions come upon me. Let thy poison fall and lie dead upon the earth, and let thy 2 lips be in thy den. The car of the serpent hath fallen, and conversely, I have gained glorious strength. The Mephet lynx hath cut off thy head. The eighth art. The eighth art, which is to be painted green, the Osiris Nu triumphant saith, Hail Ha-Hetep, great and mighty one of the Canal. None can obtain the mastery over the water which is therein. It is mighty to be feared, and the roarings which are therein are mighty. The name of the god therein is Qua-Ha-Hetep, and he guardeth it gladly, so that none may enter. I am the inner bird, which is above the thigh of the god Uncus, and I have brought the possessions of the earth to the god Tem. And I make strong and fortify the marinas of Ra. I have set the terror of myself in the divine lords of the shrine, and I have set the awe of me in the divine lords of things. Therefore I shall not be carried off to the slaughter block of those who would willingly destroy me. I am the guide of the northern horizon, and I know the god who is therein. The ninth art. The ninth art, which is to be painted yellow, the Osiris Nu triumphant saith, Hail thou city Akesi, which art hidden from the gods the Kus. Know the names of which the gods are afraid. None can enter therein, and none can come forth therefrom except that holy God, who dwelleth in his egg, and who putteth his fear into the gods, and the terror of himself into the Kus. The opening into the city is of fire, and the winds thereof destroy both nostrils and mouths. And the God hath made it for those who follow willingly. In his train none can breathe the winds thereof except that holy God, who dwelleth in his egg. He hath made the city so that he may dwell therein at will, and none can enter therein except on the day of great transformations. Homage to thee, O thou holy God, who dwellest in thine egg. I have come unto thee, that I may be among those who follow thee. Let me come forth from the city of Akesi. Let me enter therein. Let the gates thereof be opened unto me. Let me breathe the air which is therein, and let me have possession of the offerings thereof. The 10th art. The 10th art, which is to be painted yellow. The Osiris Nu triumphant saith, Hail thou city of the gods Kahu, who take possession of Kus and gain the mastery over the shades, Kahabit, who devour vigorous strength and consume filth with their eyes, see, and who guard not the earth. Hail ye who dwell in your arts, cast yourselves upon your bellies when I pass by you. My glorious strength shall not be taken away, and none shall gain the mastery over my shade, for I am a divine hawk. Offerings of unguent have been made ready for me. Incense hath been offered to me. Animals have been slaughtered by me. Isis hath made offerings to my head. Nephthys is behind me, and a road hath been made clear for me. Hail serpent No, bull of Nut, Neheb Kal, I have come unto you. O gods, deliver ye me, and grant ye unto me my glorious strength forever. The 11th art. The 11th art, which is to be painted green, the Osiris Nu triumphant saith, Hail thou city which art in the underworld, Neterkert, which coverest over the body, and gainest the mastery over the Kus. None can come forth therefrom, and none can enter therein, by reasons of fear of the opposing power which is therein. Now the gods who are therein look upon it in iron, and the dead who art therein look upon it in his slaughterings, except the gods who live therein in his mystery of the Kus. Hail thou city of Atu, grant thou unto me, that I may pass on, for I am the God, who is the mighty of enchantment by reason of the knife which come forth from the god Suti. I have my feet and legs forever. I rise like Ra. I am strong through the eye of Horus. My heart is lifted up after it was brought low. I am glorious in heaven, and I am mighty upon earth. I fly like a hawk, and I cackle like the smen goose, and it hath been given to me to alight at the thigh of the lake. I stand up upon it. I sit down upon it. I rise up like a god. I eat of the food Sekhti Hetep, and I go onwards to the domain of the starry gods. The double doors of Ma are opened unto me, and the double doors of the land of the great deep are unbolted before me. I set up a ladder to heaven among the gods. I am a divine being among them. I speak with the voice of the Smen goose to which the gods listen, and my speech and my voice are those of the star set, Sothis. The 12th art, which is to be painted green, that Osiris Nu triumphant saith, Hail thou art of the city Unt, at the head of Restau, the flame of which is a blazing fire. The gods are unable to approach thee, and the Kus are unable to gather together therein by reason of thy array, which would blot out their names. Hail thou art of Unt, I am in the form of the mighty God, who dwelleth among the Kus, and who dwelleth in thee. I am among the stars that never fail within thee. I shall never fail, and my name shall never fail. Hail, odour of the God, say they, the gods, who dwell in the art of Unt. I shall be with you, I shall live with you, O ye gods, who dwell in the art of Unt. Love ye me more than your own gods, for I shall be with you forever, in the presence of the followers of the great God. The 13th art. The 13th art, which is to be painted green, that Osiris Nu triumphant saith, Hail thou art, which in the Kus gain no mastery. Thy waters are of fire, and the streams which are in thee burn with fire. And thy name is a blazing fire. Those who are there and who wish to drink thy waters to quench their thirst cannot do so by the reason of the mighty dread which possesseth them, and by reason of the great terror which it causeth them to have. The gods and the Kus look upon the waters thereof, and retreat without having quenched their thirst, and their hearts are not set at rest, and though they wish to enter into them, they cannot do so. The stream is filled with reeds, even as the stream which floweth from the issues which come forth from Osiris. I have gained the mastery over the waters thereof. I have drunk from the canal thereof, like the God who dwelleth in the ark of the waters. And who is the guardian thereof? The gods are more afraid to drink the waters thereof than are the Kus, and they retreat therefrom. Homage to thee, O thou God, who dwellest in the ark of the waters. I have come unto thee. Grant thou that I may gain power over the waters thereof, and that I may drink from the canal thereof, even as thou dost allow to drink the great God, from whom cometh Hap, the Nile, who maketh green things to come into being, who maketh to grow the things which grow, who maketh vigorous young plants and herbs, and who also giveth to the gods gifts which proceed from him and offerings. And grant thou that I may come to Hap, and that I may gain power over young plants and herbs. For I am the son of thy body forever. The 14th art. The 14th art, which is to be painted yellow, that Osiris Nu triumphant saith, Hail thou art of the Keher Aha, which turneth back Hap at Tutu. Grant thou that Hap may come abundant in grain, as he advanceth for the mouth of those who eat, and giving divine offerings to the gods, and sepulchral meals to the Kus. There is a servant in double QWERTY of Abu, Elephantine, at the mouth of Hap, and he cometh with water, and he standeth up upon the fire of Kher-Ahar, with his divine sovereign princes, at the head of the canal, and he seeth in his hour, which is the silence of the night. Hail ye gods of Kher-Ahar, and ye sovereign princes at the head of the canal. Thereof, let your pools be open to me, let your streams be open to me. Let me gain power over the water. Let me rest on the canal. Let me eat grain. Let me be satisfied with your food. Let me lift myself up. Let my heart be great, even as is that of the God who dwelleth in Kher-Ahar. Let offerings like unto yours be made to me. Let me not be destroyed by the issues which come forth from Osiris, and let me not be withdrawn therefrom forever. Chapter 150. The 15 Arts. Sekhet Aru, the god wherein is Ra-Heru Kahuti Ra-Hamakus, the brow of fire, the god wherein is Farkahar, bearer of altars, mountain exceedingly high, art of the Kus, Amentet, the god wherein is Sekhet Ramu, overthrower of fish, Aset, Ha-Sert, the god wherein is Fafet, bearer of heaven, the brow of the god Kahu, Atu, the god wherein is Sept, Sothis, und the god wherein is Hetamet Bau, destroyer of souls, the brow of the waters, the god wherein is Ar-Sekemu, art of Kher-Ahar, the god wherein is Hap Nile, stream of the lake of fire, which is in the fire, Ekesi, the god wherein is Ma-Thet, the beautiful Amentet, the gods wherein live upon cakes and ale. Here endeth the book in peace.